what I want to talk about is what I'm trying to focus on is to show you how, for me, creativity isn't just confined to the traditionally creative realms, and how creativity can be used with technology, but also potentially in the business context as well. And I want to talk about the evolution of the evolution of creativity and how it can develop, and how sometimes it's quite good to be open to that development. Tim, could you give me 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Or
no, but I've got a clock at the back.
just let me know when I'm halfway.
Yeah.
So I started off doing this. Some of you may have seen this already. Doing this game a while ago, and I'm not going to talk about the game because we don't have time. And it's a game that got buried and now has kind of been dug out of the grave and come to life again because of the current climate for cross-media generation. So right now we're talking about developing a TV series that this can work with, and it's kind of semi-multi-user game with small missions tied up with this TV narrative. So as I was developing this, we're also thinking about technology. I'm just going to rewind it a bit. We're thinking about technology that we've used to build gaming environments, and I was building some environments, and I was having to code where every game object that's placed on the screen, I was having to code it in XML coordinates. It was a really unintuitive process. So I asked the programmer, is there not a quicker way that we can, and a more intuitive way that we can do this? Can I not just drag the objects on and then be placed in that gaming environment? So we ended up developing this engine. And this is how the engine works. This all works in Flash. You basically set up your background tiles. You can alter your tiles. You import all your images there on the left, and your assets and your sounds, and you just simply drag them on, and you manipulate them graphically, or you set properties through their little property windows. And this will work online. So I'm just going to forward it a bit because we don't have much time. So what we found with this project is it's become a research project, and we see great educational value for kids using this in schools to create their own worlds, and also tools for play. So as kids are creating worlds, this is restarting, isn't it?
It's 5 minutes.
Does this come off my 10 minutes?
Oh yeah.
So,
Question for you. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it seems absolutely fascinating. At what point are you looking for like a format, the format show, and at what point are you looking at the creative? Do you know what I mean? Where you're looking to scale everything to clients and different...
From a business perspective.
Yeah, from a business perspective. And where does your boundary lie in that? Where you've done something innovative there.
That's interesting. I come from a purely artistic background,
Right,
and creative background, and that's the way I think, and the way that tools develop was sort of purely creative reasons.
Yeah.
And then I started to think, well, hold on, I need to start thinking creatively in the business sense to develop this. And what I'm trying to establish is because I realise that I'm able to give projects a more business edge through my creativity, but what I'm not very good at is dealing with the business world.
Yeah.
And what I've done, or what I'm currently in the process of setting up, is getting a business manager and starting up a company where I purely act as a creative director role. And the GPS version of these tools has a number of different business applications which I've developed in a creative way.
Yeah,
but I won't be exploiting myself because I know when to draw the line.
obviously you've moved from sort of starting out to try and set up an easy way that you could actually create this environment to the actual project being allowing people to create their own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're just trying to feed in, and then are you doing anything like content that you're getting back users? Like,
there's a number of different applications, but no, not really. We see the end product being something for the users themselves, mainly. But there's also the potential for, I mean, I hate the term, this is the networking, social networking side of things where people can link their worlds. But that's not what we're doing, it's much more about the user generation side of it.
How do you, I mean, that chimes in with something I was thinking about, which is how do you make sense of all those disparate bits of activity that people will do? You say you join worlds together, but if people just go off at tangents, and then it's going to look like a weird quilt.
Yeah, the weird quilt is part of the.
So who is your main funder?
At the moment, I'm a research fellow, and I'm a practice-based research fellow, which is I try not to write too many papers, but we try and get research outcome on the stuff that I do. So my wages are paid by the university, but I'm probably about to move out of there and work for this incubator, working on a number of different projects. Three of the projects that I was going to show you are three of the projects that we're going to work on, and there's also a couple of other projects that I started working on. Anyway, just to briefly touch on Everspace, you saw the aerial view of the game space, yeah? What you do is you drag on your objects, you set the rules, and then you publish it. What we want to do is have the tools integrated with the play world, so there's no separation, there's no publishing, constantly publishing, because you'll always be in that play world. What we want to do with Everspace, if you imagine that aerial shot of the game world, you imagine that an aerial shot of the real world, and you can then bring in your own assets, drag them on to a map, and set the parameters of those objects. Then you can make games, perfect things like treasure hunts, treasure trails, but then there's also the other things, other possibilities like GPS-based guides, GPS-based diaries, lots of sort of commercial applications, like perfect for estate agents, dragging on pictures about the inside of houses, what they look like, onto the outside of a house in the Everspace. So anyone with a phone can actually check out a house just by walking past it. Those kind of applications that we're looking into. And that's all the stuff that I've kind of thought about in a creative way, and that's really the whole point of this what my talk was supposed to be about, and I'm sorry that I didn't show you the work. I think it's been 10 minutes, isn't it? But I'm happy to show it to anyone afterwards. Okay, thank you.